Good afternoon, everyone. Just checking that you can hear the audio and there is a presentation screen showing as well. Beautiful. I've just had confirmation that that's all good. So we'll wait another couple of minutes for people to join in. We're still a little bit early. We'll probably wait another 4 or 5 minutes. We'll give people just a little bit of time to log in, and then we'll get underway. All right, everybody. I think we'll get underway. Um, we've given it an extra minute or so. If other people join, they can join throughout the presentation. But I don't want to keep everyone held up for too long. So without further ado, we'll duck into today's webinar, which is around the new GUV category for GrainStream. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. My name's Ben Mile. I'm the Country Manager for Australia and New Zealand with GrainStream. Now today we're running as a webinar, so if you have any questions, there is either a chat bubble on the right-hand side of your screen, or down in the bottom right-hand corner there is a queue, and you can click on that and ask questions as well. You're more than welcome to ask your questions as we go through the presentation, but I'll actually come back and I'll cover them all off at the end of the presentation. So we'll get underway with today's presentation. So as I said, today we're introducing the GUV series. It's a series of personal collaboration devices that are being released by GrainStream. First of all, the GrainStream mission. So we believe in connecting the world. We believe every business, large or small, should have the tools to communicate from anywhere on any device. And then we design products to make this belief become a reality. And the category that we're about to move into is just becoming a further extension into that, because it is now allowing people to be able to communicate from where they are on the device of their choice. So the new GUV series, what is it? It's a series of personal collaboration devices that are designed for easy and effective communication. They're ideal for a number of scenarios, as we can see here. So people such as remote workers, students, teachers, call center environments, receptionists, sales teams, and then even more. As we go through them, you'll start to see the products, and I'm sure you'll be able to think of categories that I haven't even covered off in this particular screen. But what we're doing is we're empowering those remote workers or those workers in that type of environment with high quality and affordable collaboration tools. So the first products that we'll kick off is the GUV 3000 and the GUV 3005. So they're both USB-based headsets. They're designed to pair with laptops, computers, IP phones, and other devices with USB ports on them to offer high quality sound. And based around some of the features that we'll see in coming slides, you'll start to realize that they're ideal for both remote workers, but also people working in busy environments as well. So 2 models in the series initially, both USB based. They both use USB 2 connections. So it allows flexible use and obviously compatible with a large number of devices. They both feature noise cancelling microphones, so that allows to cancel out some of the noise in the environment around you. And as I said, for busy work environments, they're also ideally suited because they will cancel out some of that background noise. They have inline controls in them, so people can actually just utilize the inline controls. Although obviously depending on what scenario they're being used in, some of those features may or may not use or may not work. That is not necessarily a limitation on the endpoint. It's more a limitation on the device or the platform that the headset is connected to. And they both feature adjustable headbands and soft ear cushioning as well. So this is a part of the market that we've been asked for a number of years to move into, to actually come out with Grainstream headsets. The market's been asking, and finally a lot with that demand from the market, but then also with moving to more remote workers, it's actually allowed us to move into this marketplace. So we'll start off with the GUV 3000 first, which is our entry-level headset. So it has HD audio, and as I said, it also has a noise-cancelling microphone. This screen here gives a little bit of an idea of just an overview of it. So we have an adjustable headband, we've got dual HD speakers on it, we have a noise-cancelling microphone, we've got a 2-meter cable, so a reasonable length of cable to allow us to be able to sit away from the device we're connected to, using a USB 2 connector, as I mentioned. And then we've got the controls on the line cord as well, so on and off hook. And we've also got the volume up and down, and then a mute button as well. If we move to the 3005, this is moving up to a higher end device. We have some better quality acoustics and the likes in this particular one. Again, we've got the inline connections, so we've got the hook, the volume up and down, and the mute, using a USB 2 connector, 2-meter cable. We've got a metal headband versus and metal fittings versus plastic on the other one. We've got dual HD speakers as well. We've got noise cancelling microphone. And then also on the earpiece, we've also got a busy lamp light on there that will light up when someone's on a call. So if they're on a call, it will light up red. If they're available, it will light up green, so that people can visually see straight away when someone's sitting at their desk whether they're on a call or not. The GUV 3000 does not have that particular feature on it. That is one of the differences between the two. We have a quick little comparison here between them. I'm not going to go into all of these, and I'm not going to profess to know all the differences between them. But this is also available on the data sheets. It's just showing the differences in the impedance between them, the sensitivity between them, and the frequency response. Other than that, they're reasonably same with each other. There's just those couple of different features in there, as well as the 3005 is metal based, whereas the 3000 is more of a plastic based headset. And then if we go into the microphone side, we've got a side-by-side comparison here of the differences in the microphones. So the biggest difference that people will see here is things around the sensitivity, around the frequency response, and then obviously around one other big point right down the bottom is the degree of the microphone boom arm rotation. So the GUV3000's got a 310 degree rotation, whereas the 3005 will only rotate about 230 odd degrees. So there is also a little bit of differentiation between them that, depending on the environment, may well become a factor that someone takes into account. A little bit of a side-by-side comparison here, again, just comparing the differences between the boom arm rotation, which we've just covered off. And as we can see, the 3005 compared to the 3000 is a lot more of a robust, heavier duty type headset, compared to the 3000, which is more designed for the occasional user. So one of the big things that we looked at with this, obviously around also utilizing the USB 2 connection, is it allows compatibility with all major platforms. So if we look at it from a video conferencing or a UC type collaboration environment, obviously, yes, you can use them with Grandstream IP Video Talk. You can utilize them with Teams, Zoom, Slack, Google Meetings, Cisco, 3CX, the Grandstream Wave app, which is there'll be a new version of that coming out with a newer range of PBXs later in the year, which for those newer PBXs will have a desktop client for the first time. So then you'll be able to utilize the GUV headsets with them as well. And then obviously there's a whole plethora of other products and solutions out there that I haven't mentioned within this that you would still be able to utilize these with. The main thing is to remember they're a USB-based headset. They will invariably have compatibility from a voice and sound perspective with basically any application that you want to use. Depending on whether it is a specific app or whether it's running WebRTC, you may have some limitations around whether all the inline function may work on the actual cord itself, but to be able to hear through them and be able to speak through them, they'll work with basically anything. And then we have a little quick comparison chart here, which for those of you that have access to our partner portal, you'll be able to get access to materials like this as well, which is a comparison chart. And for these ones, we've compared the 3000 with the Jabra Evolve 30, and the 3005, we've compared that with the Jabra Evolve 40. So we have a direct comparison between them, which is very handy to have for if you have a customer that's asking how they compare within the market, or even if you're a reseller that's quite common and quite familiar with the Jabra. It gives you a direct comparison straight away of exactly how the Grandstream headsets will compare against them. As I mentioned, if you've got a login to our Partner Connect or our Partner Portal, that will actually allow you to download this information and a whole lot of other information around our products. If you don't have a registration for that particular portal yet, I would suggest that you do. And you can either register for that online, or Alloy will be able to help you with the details of where to actually go to register for a login to that particular platform. The next product that we'll move on to, so the headsets we've officially announced. The next one that we'll move on to, we haven't quite announced yet. This will be being announced within the next couple of weeks. We're also going to be moving under the GUV category. We're also going to be moving into webcams. So obviously we'll have a number of models within this category. We'll initially launch with one. And again, they're designed for obviously HD quality audio and video collaboration when they're connected to laptops, computers. You might even connect them to a smart TV screen and the likes, and be able to do functionality like that. So the first one we'll lead off with is the GUV 3100. So it's a full HD 1080p personal webcam. So it supports 1080p in HD quality at 30 frames a second. Again, we're using USB 2, so it's plug and play setup. We don't need to have any software that we need to download for this particular endpoint to be able to utilize it. Again, compatible with all the major third-party platforms, apps, and soft phones. So as we covered off before, things like Zoom, Teams, WebEx, Google Meetings, IP Video Talk, all of those types of platforms, we can utilize it straight out of the box. It has adjustable video settings, which include things such as brightness, the resolution, the saturation of the image, contrast. We can also accommodate around low light, and there's some other features in there as well. So to give you an idea and an overview of it, so it's got a 1.8 meter cable. We've got an adjustable support on the bottom. And as you can see, so that's obviously an adjustable support for connecting or clipping onto the top of the screen. What we also have, though, as you can see down the bottom of that, we have the screw connectors as well, which will also allow it to be mounted to it, just a stock standard tripod or similar type stand. Obviously, that doesn't ship with the product, but you can do that to then obviously be able to raise it higher off the desk if you're putting it in that particular type environment. It's got a 2 megapixel CMOS sensor in it. It's got 2 built-in microphones. And as I stated earlier, we're using USB 2 as the connector for it as well. So we've got 2 built-in microphones on the front of it. They're designed to offer about a 1 to 2 meter pickup range. So again, designed as we stated, as a personal webcam. So some of the models that we'll release later will have greater pickup distances. This one here is more designed for, let's say your laptop may not have the best quality camera in it, or you may be using a desktop computer that doesn't have a camera built into the monitor. Then you can utilize it with that and have it sitting there at your desk and be able to get high quality audio and video running through it. So some basic specs of it. I think we've run through most of them. So as I said, we're running as a full HD, so we're running at 1920 by 1080p, and we're running that at 30 frames a second. Again, as I mentioned, because of that USB 2 connectivity, it's allowing this particular device to be able to be used and be compatible with all the major platforms. Again, we've listed the similar ones here again. So Grandstream's IP Video Talk, which is what we're using today. Today we're using that in webinar mode, but you can also use that as a video conferencing and UC platform. So by all means, anyone that is looking to look at or evaluate video conferencing platforms, I'd certainly suggest you have a look at ipvideotalk.com. But then for people that are already utilizing Teams, Zoom, Slack, Google Meet, Cisco or WebEx, 3CX and the likes, you'll also be able to utilize this webcam with them to unlock the video functionality of those platforms as well. And then we have a comparison chart here. I do apologize about the one typing mistake I've just seen there in the top of the chart. I'll fix that up. But we're doing a direct comparison of the Grandstream GUV 3100 against the Logitech C920 and also the Microsoft LifeCam Studio HD, which are probably two of the more common webcams that are being used out there at the moment. The pricing down the bottom obviously is suggested retail price in US dollars. So that's where we've done that comparison. But as you can see, we just do a feature-to-feature comparison against them. Again, handy for people that may be used to the Logitech or maybe used to the Microsoft particular webcams. They may be selling them within their market or within their channel. This allows you just as a direct comparison to be able to see exactly how our particular webcam will stack up against that. As I said, it's the first in a series. There'll be another couple of models coming within the coming months to further expand out that webcam category as well. So I guess some deployment scenarios, and we'll go into a little bit more detail in these in some other slides, but they can be utilised for business and enterprise, education, especially for those people in Victoria at the moment. We've got education is moving back or has moved back to a remote learning from home environment. And we may see some changes within other states around that based around the whole coronavirus scenario. Obviously healthcare for remote telehealth, and not only that, just communication between sites. For government, for call center customer service. Some of the customer service type environments are actually moving more towards the video type scenario, or even just from a headset perspective. They'll also be requiring those. And then from fitness, we're actually seeing a number of gyms that are utilizing video conferencing and the likes, and those types of platforms to move what would normally be their face-to-face PT training sessions. They're moving them into a virtual world. So obviously in that scenario as well. Sorry, I apologize. I thought I had some slides in there, but essentially what you would see from these type of target users is there'll be a mixture of uses. So if we go back through them, so if we go back to business and enterprise, obviously we would have a mixture of people that would be utilizing soft phones, so they may benefit from the headsets themselves. But then we also have a number of business and enterprise scenarios now where we can't meet face to face. We're moving to video conferences, so the webcams will also come into that scenario as well. Education, we've already covered off. Healthcare, as I said, that can be around telehealth, but it can also be communication between sites. So that may be a doctor with a webcam or a doctor with a headset, and he may well be using a soft phone sitting on his laptop. We're starting to see some doctors are working remotely, and because it's not so much face-to-face anymore, they're not necessarily needing to be bound to those desktop environments anymore. Government is the same. We're seeing government workers being dispersed geographically now. There's a number of workers within that category that will be working from home and working remotely. So they'll benefit not only from headsets, but they'll also benefit from the webcams for the video conferencing as well as the audio side. Call centers, as we said, call centers are large users of headsets. And as I said, there's a number of them that are also moving towards the video type scenario. What we're also starting to see, though, is even with a lot of retail environments, especially when geographic locations go into lockdown, they're actually moving their, instead of an in-store process, a number of, just as an example, there's one particular appliance chain in Victoria, and they're now advertising that they can do a virtual showroom meeting with you. So they'll do that via video conference, and they'll basically show you through the product in the showroom as they typically would normally do, as if you were standing there in that showroom. So again, they'll be able to benefit from things such as headsets, but also webcams. Fitness, we've covered off. Personal trainers being able to run their sessions as a remote personal training session. Remote workers, they've always been users of headsets. Depending on the environment that you're working in, it's not always conducive just to use the microphone and speakers that are in the laptop. If you've got noise going on around the environment and you find yourself, a headset's going to be much more effective. And depending on where they are and the capacities that they have, they may well benefit from being able to use an external webcam as well. Part-time commuters. So these are people that may work a mixture of work environment. So they may work from home, but then they'll also spend time working in the office. The beauty of their type of scenario is a lot of the time they may be based out of a laptop, the soft phone sitting in the laptop. So when they're in the office, they can utilize the soft phone and the laptop. When they're working from home, they can utilize the same tools. So they will benefit obviously from headsets. They'll also benefit from webcams as well. And then obviously, probably I guess people a little bit like myself. In a normal scenario, I would probably class myself as a little bit as heading towards the high travel. I spend a number of days a year, probably almost a number of months a year away from home traveling for work. So my scenario is that I am working remotely quite often. So obviously things like headsets and webcams and everything, they allow me to work as most efficiently as I possibly can, and obviously to be able to provide the best service and the best experience that I can to my customers and the people that I interact with on a daily basis as well. So that gives us a little bit of an overview of them. I know stocks for these have been in very high demand. We've already had a huge uptake of the products. I know they are on their way, heading across. And we also have more and more stock going into production constantly. So I'll start to have a look. I've got a question here. I've got, will we cover programming today? I'm not quite sure what sort of programming we're talking about in that particular question, if that can be clarified a little bit more. Now, I know we've gone through it pretty quickly, but as I say, it was really the main feature of today was an overview of that particular product category. It is new to us. I know there's been a lot of people that have been asking for headsets, especially. Okay. The question I've had is more around trunks and programming. No, that won't be covered in today's. What I might do, Scott, if you can send me an email about the specifics that you're after, and then we can look to arrange something around that. So my email address is ben.miall@grandstream.com. So if you shoot me a quick email around that, then we'll be able to organise some further details for you around your particular question. So I guess, is there any feedback from everyone as to their initial thoughts around the headsets and the webcam? Is it a nice welcome addition to the GrandStream solution? I think this is where starting to fully round out the solution and start to fill in some of those gaps we had in the offering. And then, as I'm sure, once the stock hits into Australia, I'm sure that Alloy will be notifying everyone that that stock is actually in hand. As I say, they're a very, very hotly contested product at the moment with the initial stocking orders that we've been seeing go through globally. Okay, now I've got a question of having a 3.5mm audio jack connection is handy for headphones. Will future products have this? I haven't heard of anything around a 3.5mm audio jack. What I have heard and what I believe will probably be added to the category in the coming months, we rather than a 3.5mm jack, we would probably be more likely to head down the road of a Bluetooth headset and move down more into that wireless type space. Is more the direction that we will head with that, rather than moving into the 3.5mm audio jack. Any further questions from anyone, or will we start to wind things up? No, looks like we've covered off all the questions. So based on that, I'll thank everyone for turning up today. Thank you for your time. I know everyone's time is precious, and look forward to seeing you all on the next webinar that we run. Thank you very much. Have a great day and enjoy your afternoon.